she's already in office and the cost of living has gone way up. I mean, she's talking about lowering a cost of living that she herself played a major part in raising. I mean, so why would she do that? I mean, why are you going to lower the cost of living?
Peter Schiff is sounding the alarm on gold's record-breaking rise, outpacing stocks in real value and exposing the cracks in the U.S. economy. With the Federal Reserve poised to cut rates and a ballooning budget deficit, what does this mean for your investments and financial future? Are you ready for what's coming next in the financial world? Stay tuned. This is information you can't afford to miss.
Make no mistake, tariffs are taxes, and they're paid by Americans. They're paid by the people who buy the products that are subject to the tax. Now, the question is, should we have tariffs? Well, tariffs, in my opinion, are better than income taxes, but we're going to have both. It's not like Trump is saying, let's get rid of the income tax and let's replace it with tariffs. He wants to, put tariffs on top of the income tax. But we got to raise money somehow. And so, tariffs are a better way of doing it than what Harris wants to do. Harris wants to raise taxes by increasing the income tax rate or imposing a tax on unrealized capital gains. That's way worse than tariffs. But make no mistake, the public is going to have to pay those tariffs, just like they'd have to pay a payroll tax or an income tax. But the tariffs are a consumption-based tax. They're taxing you for spending. That is a much better way for the government to raise revenue. It's far more pro-growth. Right? The last thing you want to do is tax savings and investment or income. Right? You want to eliminate the taxes there. You want to incentivize people to go out and work and produce and save, and you want to collect the taxes when they spend. And so from that respect, the tariffs are preferable because they're consumption-based taxes, but they're going to be paid by the middle class who is now struggling, right? So it's not good news, right? Trump is acting like, oh, this is good news. We're going to slap you with all these tariffs. No, you're going to have to pay these tariffs. But the thing is, you're going to pay anyway. If they don't have the tariffs, you're just going to pay with inflation because there is no plan to cut government spending. In fact, during the debate, when Trump was asked about Obamacare, no, I'm not going to get rid of it. He said, well, maybe I'll replace it with something better. But he's no longer talking about getting rid of it. I mean, it's there permanently. Trump talked about increasing. I don't remember if he mentioned this at the debate, but at his rallies, he wants to increase defense spending. He wants to increase Social Security spending. Interest on the national debt is increasing on autopilot. But if he's going to increase spending, I mean, he wants to have a commission with Elon Musk to, study efficiencies. But I mean, that's spit in the ocean. I mean, even if we got rid of all the inefficiencies, it's not going to make a difference given the enormity of the deficits that we have. You can't just cut the fat. You got to cut the meat, right? You got to make real substantive cuts. And nobody wants to talk about that. They just want to talk about tax cuts. But you can't have tax cuts. Right? Taxes equal spending. That is the real tax. So all you want to have to do is look at what the government is spending, and that's what you're paying in taxes. So unless somebody is promising to cut spending, nobody is promising to cut taxes. All these promised tax cuts are a lie, right? It's all politics. Trump and Harris are going to increase taxes on everybody, especially the middle class, because that's who pays most of the taxes. So the middle class are going to get hit hardest by the tax hikes, whether they're tariffs or inflation or even the income tax, because that's going to end up passed down to them because it's going to mean that they're just going to have fewer employment opportunities. They're going to have lower wages. I mean, ultimately, these taxes fall on the working men and women. I mean, Harris keeps saying, I'm a champion of the workers and the working families, and that's why I'm going to cut your taxes. She's going to raise their standard of living. It's a cost of living. In the debate, she said, I am going to lower the cost of living if you elect me. Well, she's already in office and the cost of living has gone way up. I mean, she's talking about lowering a cost of living that she herself played a major part in raising. I mean, so why would she do that? I mean, why are you going to lower the cost of living if you're president when you raised the cost of living as vice president? I mean, what are you going to do? This is what people should be asking. This is what the ABC moderators should be asking. What are you going to do different than Joe Biden, right? Because under Joe Biden, the cost of living went way up. Consumer prices went way up. So what are you going to do different from Joe Biden so that prices are going to come down, while you're president? Because there's just nothing she's going to do different. She's going to do more of the same, right? Just run bigger deficits, print more money, and send it out there for people to go spend. And at the meantime, she wants more regulations that's going to undermine the free market, undermine the ability of businesses to produce goods, provide services, or create jobs, right? So it's just a recipe for inflation. It's the same lousy recipe that Biden had, and the voters or Americans have been eating that rotten cooking. Why would they want another helping? Why would they want seconds? Obviously, they don't. But the key is to hear these, candidates talking. You would think everything is great and everybody can get tax cuts. Everything is not great. Everything is a complete disaster. We've been living in a bubble. We have massive debts that can't be paid. We have to have a complete restructuring of the economy, right? We have been delaying the day of reckoning for a long time. And, we probably can't do that much longer. But none of the candidates are preparing Americans for any austerity. Everybody is promising great things if you only vote for them. And that is going to be, again, the risk if Trump wins and people expect, well, everything's going to get better now, inflation is going to go away, everything is going to boom. It's not going to happen. It's going to bust regardless of the outcome, right? That doesn't mean I don't want Trump to be there, because I'm afraid of how much worse it will be if Harris is there. But people are going to try to blame what happens on Trump, right? On Republicans, on whatever he supposedly stands for, because people want to paint him as some kind of free market conservative. But that's not the case. And so hopefully, I really like to see the collapse happen before he takes office. I mean, that would obviously make it harder for the Democrats to blame Trump, although they might claim that, well, they knew you were coming if it happens after the election, but before he takes office. But again, too, the sooner we get this thing started, the sooner we can, finish it, right? Again, it's like when you're in a hole, right? The first rule of holes is stop digging. So, I want to stop digging this hole. I mean, we've been digging it for a long time, right? That's why it's the Grand Canyon of holes. But every day we dig it deeper, right, makes it that much harder to get out. So if we could start doing the right thing, and again, we're going to have a crisis. And it's always better to have a crisis on your terms than on your creditor's terms, right? To kind of control it, like a controlled burn versus a forest fire. But the political incentives are just not there, right? Every politician, his incentive is to postpone the problem. Even if you make it much worse, it doesn't happen on your watch. It happens on the other guy's watch. As long as I can get to this next election, then it's somebody else's problem, right? Well, eventually, somebody's left holding the bag, right? Just like with any kind of Ponzi type investment, we've got a Ponzi economy. And, I think that the bag holders, unfortunately, are here after the next election. And so it'd be better to prepare the country for that. But I know that that's never going to happen, because nobody gets elected promising austerity. But that is ultimately what we're going to need. And hopefully we get it with a big dose of free market capitalism, because that is going to be the only way that we can get out of this hole.
The markets may be uncertain, but one thing is clear. Gold is proving its strength once again. As the Fed prepares to act and deficits continue to rise, it's time to rethink your strategy. Don't wait until it's too late. Gold and gold stocks could be your best move right now. If you found this valuable, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more insights to stay ahead of the curve.